Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on the 18th of February, 2024. We are so blessed to have Teresa Storch here with her music. I'm dava Money, and I will be talking this morning. So let's start with Teresa.
Okay. When you're down in trouble and you need somebody to care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. The sky above you grows dark and full of clouds. That old north wind begins to blow. Keep your head together and call my name out loud. Soon you'll hear me knocking at your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. Ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? People can be so cold. They'll hurt you, they'll desert you, take your soul if you let them. Don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend.
Thank you, Teresa. What a wonderful reminder. It's at this time that we go into prayer. We're taking a breath together, being fully in our bodies and our minds and our hearts. Beloved presence, we are reminded, just call out my name. Haven't we heard that from you so many times? Just call out my name. Whatever name we use, Spirit, universe, all that is, God. beloved presence. You remind us again and again and again that when we feel alone, when we feel disconnected, that's truly an illusion. And all we need to do is call out your name and simply remember you're everywhere, within us, around us, everywhere. And with the breath now, we feel that. And with the breath now, we thank you with our heart, with our deep and spiritual heart. We thank you. And so it is. We will hear from Teresa.
Buddha sat for 7 years under a tree, watching the river wash him clean. John the Baptist told Jesus, wade into the stream so he could wash him clean. But I am here listening. Come sit down, this kitchen table is made of shaker wood. It is strong, has the spirit running through it. Give me details of your life, and I will pour the wine, and maybe we will find vino veritas. Come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean with me. Times I feel alone, I peek through your window. If we threw them wider, we might ask, why are we hiding? The Buddha had a wife and child, lived a life of luxury. Jesus knew a woman, defended thugs and thieves. You have lived and loved your way, made your own mistakes, but who am I to judge? I've lived the same way. Come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean with me. Times I feel alone, I peek through your window. If we threw them wider, we might ask, why are we fighting? If you trust me, you'll find trust. Love me, you'll find love. I'll tear down my defenses. It doesn't matter if we're friends, enemies, lovers, or countries. Just come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean, come clean with me, come clean with me, come clean with me.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Beautiful. So recently I've begun to think of life as a series of adjustments. A series of adjustments. I said that to Twyla on the phone a few days, and she said, I'm going to talk about that on Sunday. So I thought, well, I will too. So there you go. So what is an adjustment? The dictionary says it's a small alteration or movement made to achieve a desired fit, appearance, or result. That sounds minor to me. I think it's more than that. I think an adjustment is called for when something happens in our life that we're not in control of. It can be unexpected. It can be small, it can be large, it can be hard, it can be an opening to something brand new, but it's a change. It's a change. And as humans, we often do not like change. And Lord, we do not like it when we're out of control. So when we are in an adjustment period, we might be worrying. We might be continually thinking on a doom loop about what it is that's going on because we have this human mind. We might have problems sleeping. We might have all kinds of things show up that I'm going to declare are normal. There is a diagnosis called adjustment disorder, keyword being disorder. And we used to use that when seeing a client in order to get their insurance to pay for sessions. And what was the beauty about it was it didn't have the stigma of other mental illnesses. Because what the heck doesn't everybody go through adjustment? So some of the things that we would identify in the client, difficulty concentrating. Haven't we all experienced that? Failure to adapt. I don't know if I would agree with generally failure to adapt, maybe slower to adapt. Because there are times, there are things that may hit us hard, that may call for transformation. Let's pause for a moment and have you think about times in your life where something unexpected happened. And through that period of adjustment, you started to become somewhat different. You started to transform in ways maybe only you knew and understood. That's true for me. Some of the transformations I've gone through have led me to a deeper spirituality. That's a blessing, isn't it? What I think is really important when we're going through a major adjustment is to not pull back from life and isolate. We may do that. We may need to give ourselves a few hours, a couple of days. But what I encourage each of us to pay attention to is let's not get stuck there. Let's not get stuck in withdrawal and isolation and being alone. Because when we do, and Lord, I know I have done that myself, then we really do believe we are alone. We disconnect. I have disconnected at those times from everything, including beloved presence. So I asked a friend the other day, any ideas of what I could talk about on Sunday? And she said, the village. It takes a village. Because we need to be reminded again and again that we are not alone. So I want to come back to it time and again today in my talk about how Unity Longmont Spiritual Center is a village. It's a village to which we all belong. And we may have other villages. We may have family of origin. We may have friends. We may have book groups. We may have all kinds of villages. Let us not take any of them for granted. And let's not take for granted what we bring to those villages. Think for a moment right now, what you bring to this village. I'm looking at your beautiful faces. I see you. I see not just your body, but your presence, the energy you bring to our community, the love you bring to our community. Take a moment to acknowledge that for yourself. Is so important. It's so important that you choose to show up as you are right now. Thank you for that. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the adjustments I have gone through and that I am going through. Growing up, we moved frequently, and I was very shy. It was hard to step out of my shyness and meet people and make friends. And after 20, 30 moves, I got to the point where I was afraid to make friends because I knew there would be an inevitable move coming up and I'd have to say goodbye. And especially in my preteens and teens, as I was saying goodbye, we'd say, "Oh, I'll write you letters." And maybe we wrote 2, maybe we wrote 3. Nowadays, it's easier with texts and emails and cell phones to stay connected. So I know many of us are connected to folks we've known for a long time, and isn't that such a gift? So once I had to adjust, and some of you know this story from a previous talk, to my sister and I being dropped off at a Swiss boarding school when I was about 5. She was about 3.5. And that was a huge adjustment. No parents, these scary nuns with big winged things on their head that would kind of loom and come on down, catching you doing something you probably shouldn't be doing. Hard pews, icy cold water to wash in every day, itchy wool stockings, and being separated from my sister, being in a room with a girl I didn't even know. What I remember that brought me some comfort was the sun shining. When we would go out and play and jump rope, there would be a sun beam coming down, warming us, shining on the stone wall. It was a stone cathedral, one of those cold, cold places. And a huge wisteria bush in bloom. Every time I see wisteria, I have that feeling of comfort. I have that feeling of not being alone. So I invite each of you to consider, what are some cues that mean something to you? Is it a song? Is it an image? Is it a friend's face? Is it an animal? What brings you back to yourself and to life and to others? Treasure those things, treasure those moments. So when we got back to the States from Germany and Switzerland, we moved to Georgia. And my sister and I would meet in the bathroom and speak in German. And we were called Nazis. And I decided I never learned that language, which I regret now. It's wonderful to speak another language. From there, we moved to Nome, Alaska. When I was 10, totally different climate, totally different social life, culture. There were 2,000 people. There was a quarter mile of a paved road. There was an airport. 2 ships came in the summer to bring provisions for the whole year. And when the ships came, the women and girls were put away because the men came out and drank from the ships. So there was fear sometimes. In the summer, it was light almost all day and night, and there was time to play and explore and make barges on an old pond covered with oil and an oil derrick. We were too young to know the danger of that. It was all fun. We picked blueberries, and in the winter, I'd go to school in the dark and I'd come home in the middle of the day in the light. My sister would go to school in the light and come home in the afternoon in the dark. That was an adjustment. So many adjustments. But we made them. And we made friends, which again we had to say goodbye to when we moved to Alabama. And from Alabama to Georgia to Alabama to Virginia to Oklahoma to Texas. You get it. So I adjusted, although it wasn't easy, to my dad being in Vietnam when I was 16. I missed him. I worried about him. And then when we moved from California to Virginia, my sister and I were sent out a month early before my parents came to stay with a strange family. That was an adjustment. I don't even remember their names. And then there was high school, right? And all those people and all those classes, things to adjust to. And some of it was absolutely delightful. When I graduated from high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I decided to go to airline school. Went there up in Hartford, Connecticut, made lifelong friends, even though we didn't have email at the time. And I got back. I moved into an apartment with 2 friends I met up there. And my dad retired from the Army, left the Pentagon, and was moving to Los Angeles with my mother and my sister and said, "Come on, David, let's go." And I said, "No, I am not moving." I had a choice then. I was 18. And I stayed in the DC area for 40 years, lots of different houses, but 40 years I was stubborn and I stayed there until I moved here. So think for a moment about the physical, psychological, social adjustments we each make, sometimes on a daily basis. You know, here in Colorado, it could snow anytime. That's an adjustment. Get out and shovel, drive through slush, whatever. Some of our summers have been really hot. Adjustments. When I moved here in 2009, there were 80,000 people in Longmont. Now there are 100,000. That's adjustment. There's more traffic. There are more buildings. So if we stop and think about adjustment, aren't we making them every single day? Sometimes they're minute. Right now I'm kind of moving around. I'm adjusting my body. I'm adjusting my posture. I'm adjusting the speech. And so many times we're not even aware of the adjustments. And I want to call out to all of us to celebrate our ability to adjust. As a community, some of our adjustments have been that in the last years, even prior to the pandemic, members of our community have died. I'm going to invite us for a moment to pause and honor those people. Whoever comes to your mind, David, Trill, Jerry, whoever comes to your mind. They were part of our village. They added to our village. And there's something about them that I think is still here. There's something that they left that made a mark on us. Thank you to each and every one of them. So, spiritually, we're invited to learn to let go of the illusion that we can control much. Right? Isn't that one of the big spiritual lessons that teachers remind us of? You can't control a whole lot, dava. Let it go. Ego gets talked about. I personally think the ego is a gift from divine spirit. It just needs another job. It doesn't need to be in control of everything, including ourselves. So again, just remember some of the things that have occurred in our lives that were beyond our control, and how did we respond to that? Because what we do have control over is how we respond. And my first response isn't always pretty, but sometimes, with the help of the divine and the village, I might get to grace. So Tara Brach says, as we learn to release the grip of controlling, we are free to inhabit the beauty of our intrinsic creativity, wisdom, and love. So I read that as once we learn to let go, there are other energies that come up: love, wisdom, creativity. Richard Rohr says, we're not throwing out our rational mind, but we're adding non-dual, mystical, contemplative consciousness. Contemplative consciousness. We all know that feeling, that experience of being aware of what's going on inside, of what's going on outside, and not trying to judge or control. It's just a pure, gentle, soft awareness. He says when we have both, that consciousness and that rational mind, we're able to see more broadly, deeply, wisely, and lovingly. There's that love again. We can collaborate on creative solutions to today's injustices. Years ago, I heard Carolyn Myss use the phrase modern mystic, and it resonated for me. And I began to see myself as a modern mystic. I invite you to consider, are you a modern mystic? Are you aware of the invitations of spirit? Are you aware of those divine magical moments which we are all gifted with? I imagine so. Frequently for me, those moments are in nature. It's easy to relax, release control, unless it's a storm or whatever. But there's such beauty, there's such majesty in nature that the division between myself, my aloneness, and all that is, it melts away more easily. I have shared some of those moments with you in other talks. Sometimes there will be a pull to do something, to complete something, to go somewhere. And as you know, there was that pull in November to have a lung cancer screening, for which I am so grateful, and am now on the journey toward fuller healing. And one of the things that gets me up every morning and gets me through the day is knowing I have villages, knowing I have you as a village, knowing I have your kindness, your caring, the precious gift of love, of showing up. That gets me through. And I hope the same is true of you. Let us rest into the knowledge that none of us are alone. Ultimately, in reality, in spirituality, none of us is alone. Look at these faces. You're not alone. We're here together right now. We have a larger village too, which we belong in, and that is Unity Worldwide Ministry. I don't know how often you think about that larger village of which we are a part, but I'm engaged in it every week. They know we are here. They care about our well-being. We are a part of that larger and growing village, that movement. And think about and feel for a moment, what is the core of that movement? It's in our name, unity. It is the reality that everything, everyone is connected at all times. Boy, is that amazing to truly know and understand that. I might not see you for a little while, but we are not disconnected. You're in me and I'm in you, and we're in the whole. We're alive. I remind everyone of silent unity. Silent unity is what got Unity Worldwide Ministry going. The Fillmore started it with just a few people. And in a few years, hundreds of people were answering phone calls to say a prayer for us when we called. It's still there. So when you feel alone and you're a little bit shy or reluctant to reach out to this specific village, call Silent Unity. They will hold you and yours in prayer for 30 days. Call them as often as you like. You get off the phone and you feel connected again. It's so valuable. You remember the first time you heard, "It takes a village"? It takes a village. The fuller phrase is, "It takes a village to raise a child." I know it takes a village to maintain well-being for adults too. Not just our inner child, but our whole self. It takes a village. When Hillary Clinton wrote "It Takes a Village and Other Lessons Children Teach Us" in 1996, some people pushed against it. I mean, what is there to push against, right? But Bob Dole, a Republican, said, "With all due respect, I am here to tell you it does not take a village to raise a child. It takes a family to raise a child." Well, sure. But doesn't the family need a village? There is an African proverb: the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Whew. Don't we see that from people who are suffering? Takes a village. So coming back to modern mystic, the modern day mystic and Jesuit priest Anthony de Mello said, enlightenment is absolute cooperation with the inevitable. What does that mean? Cooperation with the inevitable. To me, that means not trying to control, but to accept. A lot of people use the word surrender for a spiritual response to what's going on. I like the word acceptance. It feels like I'm more actively participating in it without trying to necessarily not experience it. Are there times in your life that have felt inevitable? When I moved here from Northern Virginia, from Manassas in 2009, it felt very inevitable to me to land here. I didn't even know where I was going to live when I got here, but my daughter had found a beautiful little carriage house I could rent. We emptied the truck, we took a walk, we got to 5th and Main, and there was a huge goose there, a statue, a goose. And goose had been my deceased partner's totem and has always meant a great deal to me. And what was next to the goose? A sign for unity. I came the first Sunday. I moved here on a Wednesday. I came here there the first Sunday, and I've been there ever since. And there's something about the whole journey that just feels inevitable. To be here with you guys this morning. So I came across a piece of writing that I'd like to share. But before I share it, I took some pieces out of it. I want to invite you each to understand in this moment what the word unity means to you. We say it a lot. Unity, unity, unity. What does it mean to you? Some of what it means to me is that we are a village, we are united, and that what does a village do? We take care of each other in different ways. So, do we take care of the old? I invite you to look at this face. This is a senior face. I am aging. I am getting old. Look around the screen. Many of us are seniors. Teresa, you're not there yet. Do we take care of each other? When we have a visitor, do we welcome them with our open hearts? When someone is fragile, do we offer support? And when we are fragile, do we ask for support? That is such an act of courage to ask for support. In our lives, this village or others, when we know couples are struggling because it can be hard, do we support them? Do we stand by them? So I am so grateful to not be alone at this time in my life as I am going through transformation and focusing on my well-being and health, longevity, and being alive. I am so grateful to be a part of this community. What struck me when I read this quote by Richard Rohr, God heals people by making them into what they are really meant to be. God heals people by making them into what they are really meant to be. Some of what that pulls up for me is all the times I have struggled against God. No, I don't want to do that. I refuse that invitation. Thank you. No, no. And then when we get to acceptance, don't we really become who we are to be? Whether it takes a disease, an accident, grief, moving a hell of a lot, whatever it takes, can we find the grace in it? Can we be thankful for this journey? So I'd like to read this. It Takes a Village. It's by Paul Alcorn. The saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe that it does. Our children need all of the strong, caring, compassionate adults we can stack around their lives. But if we stop there, we have stopped well short of the mark. Not only does it take a village to raise a child, it takes a village to care for those who grow old in our midst. Take care of those who grow old in our midst. It takes a village to welcome and to include newcomers. It takes a village to care for the fragile and vulnerable among us. It takes a village to help couples find their way through the challenges of life. It takes a village to dance in our moments of joy. It takes a village to stand shoulder to shoulder with us in times of need, holding us up when we cannot stand up on our own, holding us up when we cannot stand up on our own. By and large, I think we have forgotten this, and we are paying the price. Our sense of community, our sense of responsibility towards one another, our sense of caring for one another has been pushed aside in favor of the myth of rugged individualism. The myth of rugged individualism. That I can do it all on my own. That I am responsible for myself and no one else. That my own strength and willpower and hard work is enough. But none of that is true. It just is not. So I'll end with two quotes. One from Richard Rohr. The fire in the heart of God is the same fire that burns in us once we have the interior vision that lets us acknowledge divinity within ourselves. Acknowledge divinity within ourselves. That is a core principle of unity. We are both human and divine. We have that. We have it both. We need it. We can call on our divinity. Another Richard Rohr. If you ever feel not good enough to reach out, remember God's desire and our destinies are already written in our genes, our upbringing, and our natural gifts. To accept that each of us is just ourself, is probably the most courageous thing we will ever do. Accept ourselves just for who we are is courageous. It's majestic. Let us do that individually and as a village. And so it is. And we will hear from Teresa.
It's beautiful, David. I'm lonely, and I'm tired, and I'm giving up the fight in my head, and I'm grounded, and I'm surrounded by the beauty I know I'll forget. So please this time, oh God, this time, oh, oh, this time, please let me remember it. Well, I'm lonely, I'm happy, I'm letting go of the things I regret, and I'm simple, and I'm single, yet I'm getting all that life has to give. So please this time, oh God, this time, oh, oh, this time, please let me remember it. Now I'm driving through a valley with the Mississippi shining like glass, and I watch a baby spider spin his home between my window and my dash. Jeff Buckley is on the radio, showing me the way out of the past. Now I see you're smiling, and you listen to the words that I say, and I'm happy, 'cause I am surrounded by the beauty that is everything. So please this time, oh God, this time, oh God, this time, oh, this time, please let me remember it. Ooh.
That song is such a gift, as are you, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you. It's at this time that we go into our donation of love and light. And let us remember that we do that as individuals, but also as a village. So the power of this love and light goes beyond our Zoom screen, doesn't it? Let's take a breath and be in our bodies, aware of our hearts, our minds, aware of our souls, and so deeply aware of who we are, that we are love and we are light. This love, this light can be shared. It's all connected. It's always all connected. Let us rest in that for a moment. Let us remember when we encounter someone in need, and we're not sure what to do or how to respond, at a minimum, we can share this love and light. And let us be aware of the love and the light that is shared with us by others. For this and so much more, we say thank you. And so it is. And we will hear from Teresa.
I thought I'd end with a little sing-along kind of song. I've played this a few times here before, and I love playing it. So. Oh, it's really low. Some time in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Gosh, wow, I'm practicing. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Call me brother, you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong. be a friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Somebody to lean on. I love that song.